right? Or they just didn't get girls, especially Tory. Look, we see all the jokes about short dudes. I can't even illustrate how short he is from the floor to here because the camera don't even.
If I'm actually thinking you're acting different, manic, spitting sounds of manic depression.
All right, everybody, welcome. We are keeping the same energy today. We have no Fred. Now, I mentioned this on my 476ers podcast, but again, no one over there knows who Fred is. I don't think the people over there know that this over here exists. So maybe I should have talked more about that over there so that they know that this over here exists. It doesn't matter. Keep it the same energy. No Fred today. Fred is in Ohio with his family, enjoying life. L'chaim to them. Much love and respect to their family who've been having a weird-ass summer. We've all been having a weird summer, but then they have then had a weirder summer. Their house almost burning down. Their AC then stopped working in their house. So on top of the heat of Philadelphia, a fire came, and then their AC stopped working. Someone is trying to smoke them out of the house. Shout out to them. God bless them. They're out there. No Fred this week. Maybe next week. We'll see. We're going to keep the same energy alone, though. It's going to be Brian keeping the same energy. That's what I do. You know what I mean? I keep the same energy. It's usually low energy. It's usually a low energy is how I keep it. But I wanted to talk about a couple things. There's a couple things that are happening. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you see what's on the screen. If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, you have no idea. So I'm going to tease it some more. There's some things that are some weird fucking things happening. People are losing their fucking mind. There was always been a thing called Summer Madness, and I'm not talking about the battle rap thing. I'm talking about Summer Madness. Everyone in Philadelphia has known what Summer Madness was for mad years. If you live in a city with any type of ghetto or hood or whatever in that city, you have heard of Summer Madness. Everyone knows what that is. And there's some fuck shit happening here, so we're gonna get into it. It seems like Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion. It's what it seems like what has happened. Megan Thee Stallion of fame, of the Savage fame, a beautiful woman, fine as fuck, and is a savage. Is bougie, is another adjective I can't remember, but is also ratchet. That's another one I remember. Which was a song that was parlayed many times. It's a bunch of different covers, mostly famous. The most famous version was Carol Baskin's, who, as we all know now, has killed her husband. Well, we don't know that, but we know that. That's not important. We're gonna keep the same energy here on Tory Lanez here real quick, and I want to talk to dudes. I want to talk to everybody, but listen, this is some real fuck shit right here. Let's run this down. We don't know all the details. What originally happened is something happened Sunday night. The cops get called out. I think they're on the highway. I haven't seen any of the video. There's video circulating. I just don't do that much work. I'm lazy. Again, I keep the same energy very low. They call out, cops get called out to some sort of highway of some sort. And there has been gunshots and Megan stepped on glass, which is one of the worst lies. Nobody in their right mind. Who would ever confuse a gunshot wound with I had stepped on glass? What piece of glass did you step on that punctured your foot? Twice, apparently. And then later on, I guess as more information came out, it was harder to hide. I don't know, and we don't know the details, right? Because the darkest side of me is looking at this thinking, well, Tory Lanez maybe is abusive. We don't exactly know what happened. He looks like he shot her on the foot. Megan then came out and said in a statement on Twitter, I think, that, yeah, a crime was committed against her. And she was shot on purpose, is essentially what she said. Well, it was Tory Lanez's gun. Apparently, Tory is the one who shot. So, no one seems to be making the connection, as you see here, by every one of these things. Hesitates on dropping collab with Tory Lanez. Yeah, you probably should hesitate on that, T-Pain. I would say they have another collab called Jerry Sprunger, which is on Tory Lanez and Chick State, which I guess we got to cancel now because that's fucking weird. And that was a banging ass album, but that's not important. He shot her. Now I don't fucking know why. Let's look at acceptable reasons why he may have shot her. Acceptable reasons. Acceptable reason number one. Tory Lanez is a 3'4" man. He's a miniature man. Okay, he's a miniature human, and he fits about here. All right, about where he fits. He is essentially the size of a garden gnome. He is like a pop doll come to life, except that when the pop doll came to life, it did not grow. The pop doll stayed within the size of the box. The pop doll in the box, maybe like one of the bigger ones. Be real, it's one of the bigger pop dolls, not one of the smaller pop dolls. So Tory Lanez is a small man. He's a very, very small man. He has a big voice and a tiny human being. If you went to Tory Lanez music, it's like one of those Russian dolls, like a nesting doll, and you like peel the music back and you find a smaller version of a man. And now apparently, as we found out, he may also be like a weirdo, and then you peel it back further, you find out he's even smaller. He's like a marble within a pop doll, within a garden gnome. And my man, so acceptable reasons. Megan is a regular sized woman, thicker, beautiful, again, which has nothing to do with her ability to fight. And her name is Megan Thee Stallion. And now a name like Megan Thee Stallion, you have to understand, like, I feel like you earned that name. It's not a name you get by accident, right? Tory Lanez. Well, why is his name Lanez, right? Because he stays in his small lane, you know what I mean? Which is the shoulder of the highway, but one of those small shoulders of the highway, not the big shoulders where you can pull over and change your tire, but that small shoulder where you're like, why is this even here? I can't stop here. That is Tory's lane. Megan Thee Stallion is the name of someone who has fought in the Iliad, or who her legend precedes her and is like in the Odyssey, and along with the Helen of Troy, right? There was Helen of Troy and mad names like there's Achilles and Hector and Ajax, and then there was Megan Thee Stallion along with Conan the Barbarian. Conan's not in that book. He wasn't in that movie. He's in a different album. But then there was Megan Thee Stallion, right? So maybe Megan was beating the shit out of Tory Lanez. Okay, maybe they got into a fight and Megan was washing him. And in order for this small man to protect himself, I mean, he could barely pick up a gun. He's very, very small. And he like manages to get his two hands around the handle of the gun and shoots because he was getting washed. Right? So maybe that's when it's like washed to death, right, is what I'm saying. Washed to death is what I'm saying. But now there's no pictures of him being washed, so that doesn't seem to be it. And the other acceptable reason is like, well, Megan is about to shoot his kid, and he shoots her first, right? That's the only other acceptable reason. Now, career acceptability is different, right? Because in order for him to continue his career, I think what could be one of the two ways that he can continue his career is if one of two things happen. Somebody tried to take Tory Lanez, let's say. Again, he's a small man. Maybe they thought he was a kid and they wanted to take him for ransom. And they said, like, yo, get that kid. And Tory, in his haste to get into a gunfight with these would-be kidnappers, accidentally shoots Megan. But it's not, from what we understand, it's not an accident. So I don't think that's it. Or he's on some sort of drug binge and loses his fucking mind and shoots Megan. You know what I mean? Is the other career acceptable reason where people will love him? Because let's be clear, people love Chris Brown still. All right, and Chris Brown beat the shit out of Rihanna, and people love Rihanna too. And I don't know how people reconcile those two things. I listen to some Chris Brown songs every now and then, like. They'll come on a station and I don't actively change it. Now, I don't go actively looking for Chris Brown songs because it is kind of fucking weird hearing this weird, like weird ass dude who pretty much clout chased and became a blood. I mean, he's almost the first, he's like arguably the first Tekashi becomes a blood at a weird time in his life. He's running it and now he's a blood gang member. I don't know. And he beats the shit out of Rihanna. And that's like mad weird and mad awkward. And we got to keep that same energy now. No, we don't have to. We need to change the energy because Chris Brown is mad successful now. All jokes aside about Tory Lanez and his smallness of a human. I mean, he's a small man. But all jokes aside, I've been talking about this for a while, all right, with hip-hop, especially with hip-hop. I mean, listen, misogyny is nothing new in this world. But with hip hop especially, there's a specific type of misogyny. And what Tory Lanez did here, I promise you, if you go back and listen to old rap songs, you'll find lyrics by Tupac or Snoop or Dr. Dre's like a real heavy West Coast thing. Or I'm sure there are East Coast dudes too, where they talk about doing some shit like this. You know what I mean? Let's not forget that Gin and Juice, was it Gin and Juice or Nothing But a G thing, where they just dump all the 40s on that one chick leaving that party for absolutely no reason. She's just there being good looking. And I guess just like what hit, hold on, there's a maybe Tori shot someone else. I'm sorry. Maybe it's because she was good looking, but it's really it's kind of like metaphorical to hip hop generally, because, and I've had this conversation about like A Boogie with the Hoodie. I heard his album last year. I was getting a haircut and they were playing it in a barbershop. And I was like, man, this sounds like really good. But when I'm listening to it, I hear somebody who just hates women. And that happens. A lot of these dudes, as a rapper myself, as an artist myself, a lot of these dudes were corns in high school. And I was a corn in high school. I was a nerd. I was bullied in high school at one point. And I didn't surprise, you guys might be surprised by this. You know, as fly as I am today, I did not get a lot of attention from women in high school. All right. And I was a rapper. Well, now, if I was corny, see, I was taught the game, though. You know what I mean? Not that I was taught the game as if, you know, whatever, as if I was cool with pimps or some shit like that. But I just was taught right. And I understood that it's in the game. You get turned down sometimes. It's fine. And I got turned down in some pretty horrific fucking ways that fucked my self-esteem up for mad long. But it's all in the game. Guess what? Not every female is going to be interested in you. Who cares? Big deal, right? So, like, I remember when Drake came out with Take Care, it was his second album. I had an argument with this dude at work one time because he was like, this was his favorite album, and I didn't like Take Care. Take Care has grown on me over time, but at the time I didn't like it. But on the one song Drake has with Rick Ross, he says, I check her phone when she goes to the bathroom. I don't trust these hoes. And I always thought that was the lamest fucking line. It was one of the reasons I didn't like the album. That's like the lamest fucking line I've ever heard in my life. And people were jacking it like it was cool. That's lame as shit. There's nothing cool about that. Yo, if you guys, and this is now where I talk to guys, you can't act like you're cool. You can't be cool. You cannot possess any semblance of coolness. If any human being, not just women, now women are going to be the direction that we're talking about here, but if any human being can get you off your pivot that easily, then you can't be that cool. Who gives a fuck if she's texting some? Let's say this shit goes to the bathroom and she's texting some other dude. Okay, is she going to go home with you? No. Yes. Let's say no. Who gives a fuck then? Why were you on her phone? You're just a weirdo. And if the answer is yes, then who gives a fuck? You're a weirdo for checking her phone. And if she was texting somebody else, you'll find out later. Who cares? And then you just move on. You end it, move on. You got betrayed. That happens. People are shitty. And that's just kind of life. And you just move on and find somebody who won't fucking betray you. So this shit, and with all of these dudes, they didn't get attention in high school. So if you took my life and went a different direction, times that I got turned down by women in like a real shitty way, all of a sudden I'm a rapper and I have a platform and I'm writing songs about, oh, money over bitches, bros before hoes, get money, fuck bitches, all this shit, right? It's because their shitty self-esteem never repaired and they're still angry at these chicks who turned them down mad long ago and they're taking it out on them. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. A lot of these dudes were lames in high school, right? Or they just didn't get girls, especially Tory. Look, we see all the jokes about short dudes. I can't even illustrate how short he is from the floor to here because the camera don't even, it's boop right here. This is how tall he is. You can't see my hand. You know what I mean? Boop, he's this tall. He's not going to get a lot of girls in high school. Now he's going to get girls because he's famous. He makes banging music. He got a little swag to him, whatever, got some money. So he gets girls now. But guess what? The cornball shit never resolved itself, right? That corny shit just never resolved itself. So here he is getting girls. He gets the girl. He gets Megan Thee Stallion, the hottest rapper in hip-hop right now. Someone that everyone idolizes, especially her body. She just did a remix with Beyonce. She's dope. You know what I mean? She's dope. She can rap. She has a swagger about her that a lot of people enjoy, rightfully so. You know what I mean? What she is right now is what I think people wanted Nicki Minaj to be before Nicki went super pop, right? And before Nicki started defending her child molester brother. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take, Nicki's pregnant. Shout out to her, she's pregnant. Yeah, so that's Megan, right? And then here's Tory. Well, Megan's been gassed up her whole life. Let's just be real. When you're good, when you're a woman, and this is not to men are constantly flattering women. Now the problem is with not just today's day and age, but with how what men understood was flattery for a long time, as we are now learning, women have been like mad uncomfortable with. Some women still don't. Certain things are not as, everyone is different, right? So a woman getting catcalled in the street to one woman may be harassment, to another woman might be flattering to her, right? It's possible. So I'm sure Megan has been, at the very least, been told how fine she is her entire life, maybe in some bad ways that we don't know, and hopefully in good ways. Hopefully she's never had a negative experience like that. I doubt that, because I've never met a woman in my life who had all positive experiences with men, but let's just hope that there's one. So Megan, I'm sure, has been reminded time and time again how fine she is. And now that she's got this swag, and she's dope. If you ever heard her talk, she's just a likable person. It's kind of hard not to like. So she is used to this type of love, I think, probably. Maybe not this type of fame, but this love and adoration. And she probably gets mad attention. I think she messes with dudes and chicks. So she probably gets mad attention from both sides. Because, again, she's fine. And then you got Tory, this small man with a smaller fucking ego, who never got that resolved, and now is out here, and guess what? He don't know how to act. So he see Megan out here maybe flirting, maybe getting flirted with, and is kind of a bitch about it. He's like kind of corny about it, right? He don't know how to handle it. So when I see this situation, what I see as a situation is I see a weak man. They're driving home from some party. They were at the Jenners, I guess, some Kardashian house, one of their Kardashian, who knows? This is a whole different world out here that exists. It's like fucking Elysium. You know what I mean? If you've ever seen the Matt Damon movie, which I've never seen actually, but I just know the concept. It's like Elysium, and there's just a whole other world out here, and then we're over here. We don't know what I can't even wrap my head around what's going the fuck on over there. No, you know what it's like? It's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's what it's like. It's just a different world. Maybe Megan is flirting with somebody or getting flirted with. Tory, the small man that he is, who has not been claimed by Megan, because why would Megan claim him? You can put him in a purse. Does not like that. Gets into an argument with Megan, right? And Megan, who knows what precipitates Megan, maybe calls him a small man. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he has a Napoleon complex. No small man small men get Napoleon complexes because they've been small all this time. The only person they have to look up to is Napoleon. He's the next tallest person they can look up to. They can't look up to me. My head is in the fucking clouds. They can barely see me from down there. So he's looking up to Napoleon. He has Napoleon complex. And Megan is like, hey, like, stop being a bitch about this. Stop being weird about it. And it's probably more heated than what I'm saying. I'm sure there are far more effective insults. She is a savage after all. And he didn't like that. He pulled his gun out on her, which was the first punk ass move, and then shot her, which is the second worst punk ass move. They should throw this dude away. You know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't completely resolved can we listen to someone's music? Can we separate the art from the artist? I've been talking about how like with R. Kelly we can't, because R. Kelly literally, when you listen to his music now, you find out he is literally singing about the things he's doing. I mean, he was living the shit he was rapping about, and it's very fucking disturbing now when you listen to it back. So we cannot separate the art from the artist in that case. But he makes catchy music, and this is what I think about. I don't know why I think about this because I have already resolved in my mind that he needs to be thrown away. And are we able to keep the music, or are we just all going to throw him away as a community? I'm fine with both. If we have to throw him away, there are other people who make good music that's actually more original, because he's not actually super original anyway. All he does is make remixed music. He just makes remixed music, pretty much. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the Puff Daddy We Make the Remix thing, but instead is just him. The point being, though, this is the point. We need to do better as men generally, right? And when women, yo, I don't even know where to start with some dudes. There are probably dudes who are going to listen to this and think that I am corny, right? Which is fine. I don't really give a shit. I'm not looking for friends. I just I can never resolve in my mind the idea that you would be this pressed over a woman. Now, this is not to say that I didn't get this pressed. I've had situations in the past where, I got jealous and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Over an ex or something like that. And now, years removed from that, maybe that's the problem. He's too young. I would never have done something like this, but he's younger than me. I don't know. I would never go this far. If something's gonna end, it's gonna end, and you just let it go. There's no way that any dude could think in their mind, well, if I stalk her, or if I press her, or if I threaten her with a gun, the relationship can continue like it continued before. So that makes sense. Like, this is a healthy way to deal with this. It doesn't make sense. If a chick wants to leave you, bro, just let it go. You're just going to have to move on. You know what I mean? Even if it was the best thing that's ever happened to you. Listen, I tell this to a lot of people, to females that I talk to too often. That's like, hey, things need to be allowed to end. You know what I mean? This is kind of a bigger conversation about relationships, but things need to be allowed to end. Because if they're not allowed to end, that's when you end up with situations where somebody gets cheated on, it gets messy. And it's like, well, this is shitty. You need a safe place to communicate. I've talked about that mad times. A safe place to talk to somebody where it's like, hey, I don't like this, or I don't think this is working. And then there has to be a safe place to end, and that's not letting go. You feel me? You can fight for a relationship. The way you fight for a relationship, right, is by like changing behavior. It's not by yelling and screaming and fighting. That's not actually fighting for a relationship. It's just shattering a thing that's already broken. So shit needs to be allowed to end. And if it ends, cool. You know what I mean? This conversation could have ended cool. This could have been like, all right, well, hey, I'm Tory Lanez. I'm like one of the biggest R&B stars, even though I'm a small man. You know what I mean? It's ironic. I'm the biggest star, smallest man. And I can probably go out and get any chick I want to get. Right? I can go the world is at my fingertips. I'm rich, I'm young, I'm black, I'm fucking out here doing my thing. I drop these albums, mixtapes, Drake co-signs. I've written shit with Drake. I've done all them. One of the biggest stars in the world. And Megan Thee Stallion doesn't want me. That's fine. I can replace that. I can't get Megan again, but I can get somebody else. I can get another Thee Stallion. I'm sure there's another Stallion out there somewhere. He may be unable to mount the Stallion for his shortness, but to literally shoot somebody. And now again, we don't know the details, so I just want to be clear. I'm going off of what I think happened. To sue somebody based on that, I mean, is weak. It's weak. I mean, it's not even weak. I'm sorry, weak is not the right word. That's the weakest word I can come up with. I just don't want to say one of the words that I would typically go with in this situation, because it's corny, it's weak, it's sucker shit, it's punk shit. Shout out to Megan. I hope she's okay. Tory, you're a fucking corn. I always thought he was a little weird. Every time I would hear him rap, I just never found him that believable. Like when he can rap though too. To be clear, he can rap. He can rap, and he can sing. He can do all of it. He's a super talented individual, man. But I never found it believable. Anyone who would shoot at a woman, I find not believable that they would do any other street shit. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I haven't met enough street dudes. But I can't imagine anyone who would shoot a gun at a woman would do literally anything street related. Like if I ran up on him, would he shoot me in the foot, or would I get the chance to just slap the shit out of him? But that's child abuse. If I slap him, that's child abuse. So I can't do that either. I just can't imagine that makes any sense. You know what I mean? I just can't imagine that you would be cool with that. If you any man that has that within them, you can tell. I don't know this person personally, right? I don't know him personally, But I gotta imagine if I've ever been around him, you would pick something up. Like, this dude is kind of weird. Like, this, if you would shoot at a woman, that would come out in other ways, I feel like. Like, that's just weird. You know what I mean? It's just fucking weird. You know, it's just weird. Why do you even have a gun? And I've heard this. I actually watched the Joe Budden talk about this, and they brought up a good point. Why do you even have a fucking gun, bro? You can get security. You're rich enough, man. Do your thing. Why do you have a gun? You don't need one. This is an unfortunate, shitty situation. 2 careers affected, 2 lives affected by this. One dude just exposing himself as one of the corniest individuals that's ever walked the earth, possibly. Again, all of this is alleged. We don't completely know what did or did not happen, but we do know that this is some real cornball shit. If what I think happened is what happened, which I think is somewhat likely, I'm thinking that this is just cornball shit. You know what I mean? It's just your run-of-the-mill corny shit. So
ready.
All right, let's move on.
Yo. Won't catch me slipping if I'm actually thinking you're acting different. Manic, spitting sounds of manic, depressing, going through